All right, let's try my live. See if I can get Billy on here. And then we're good to go. Hi, Bill. Connecting you now.
Hello.
Yes. I don't know why it happens that way.
That is so,
Instagram
it's
is
so
annoying.
funny. Actually, when I go live, I let people start on their page. So I don't mind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because I'm like busy, busy, busy. So at least I know they're archived. And that when we talked about the replays, that's
Yep.
exactly why the replays are on everyone else's page.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Hey, guys. How do you pronounce Janae's name? That's Janae? That's how you pronounce it?
Janitzi? Janetzi?
Janetzi. Yes, yes. So
Look
I'm
at it.
excited to be here. Yes,
I got my
honey. We're
coffee.
waking up on purpose to
Hey.
detox the bullshit.
Yes.
Yes, I'm excited. I have my journal. I just want to introduce myself, guys. My name is Billy Wrote It. I am a published songwriter for major networks and artist as well. I'm a performer as well. Right now, I'm just really focused on my business brand. I do a lot with business, and this is like the newest venture. All of a sudden, I usually have these one-on-ones with people that I'm in business with. So I started this platform with Songbird, who is also a musician and performer, and it's just been taking off really well. And the goal of these type of one-on-ones are, thanks, babe. The goals of these one-on-ones is to be very transparent with our journey so that we can provide the tools needed for people that are also going through the same journey, and maybe we can give them some shortcuts so they don't have to go through the terror that we've went through. you know
100%.
Thankfully we are where we are now, and it is a privilege and an honor to me to be used in this way to help people get through their journey. So thank you for today. I'm
Yes.
excited. I love your brand. I love what you stand for. And I just definitely wanted to expose that opportunity to the people on my side of things so that they can understand that this process of healing and transforming your life, it is not as complicated as we think it is when we start. There are just certain steps that you cannot get around, that
Yep.
you have to take to reprogram yourself. We have been poorly programmed by society, by generational curses that we have now labeled as the culture. And it is definitely not the culture. We have a tendency of labeling things to find comfort, but we need to call it what it is, and we need to get where we need to get. So I'm going to let you go ahead and introduce yourself and take it away as I take my notes today.
Thank you too for like
You're
reaching
welcome.
out to me because it's been amazing. Like also just being on your lives and you and Songbird. I was on there yesterday. I was dropping a lot of jewels. So
Thank you.
yes, thank you for reaching out to me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guys, my name is Aida Johnson. I am the author of the book I Am Love. Learn to love yourself and tap into your power. And I am the host of the podcast Self Love Chat. And today we're going to talk about 5 tips to becoming a better you. There will be a replay on our IG profiles if you can't stay the whole entire time, but I recommend you do because I have a special offer at the end of the
Yes.
live for a discount code that you would get specifically because you're here live with us for 10% off of Becoming a Better You Masterclass and
Yes.
workbook. So becoming a better you, I'm talking about habits and mindsets. We're going to get real practical. And these 5 steps are going to help you no matter what. If you're trying to lose weight, you're trying to heal from heartbreak, you want to be less codependent, more independent, you want to be more confident in yourself. Internally, this is the work that you're going to do so you can, in these 5 steps, so you can get to reach your destination, reach your goal. So the first tip I have is to know your why. Why do you want to change? And usually we start off like, oh, I want a husband, I want to get married, or I want to lose 30 pounds. But it's much more deeper than that. You need to go deep with your why because it's going to keep you going. It's going to keep you motivated. For me, in the beginning of my journey, I had 2 whys. At the beginning of my journey, I was depressed. 2 years. I was in a marriage that wasn't really aligned with who I am, who I was. Um, I was not happy in my business. I gained 50 pounds. I was crying to Netflix every night and just like, oh my gosh, my life, this is so horrible. I was so insecure. And I was just tired of tired. You know, you get that tired where you just like, listen, I can't take no more. Something
Right.
has to change. And so that was enough of a push for me to start seeking answers and figuring out how to seek counsel and how do I get out of this funk, right? And after like a year or two of doing some work on getting myself out of the depression, I got pregnant with my daughter. This is my second why, and my most deep why, because I wanted her to be proud of the woman that she looked back at. And so I had a purpose, like I wanted to hurry up and figure out my shadow side, heal
Yeah.
my childhood with my parents, my relationship with my parents. Like my father wasn't in my life. He left at 6 months. Me and my mother's relationship was a decent one, but one that lacked an emotional connection.
Mm.
And
Right.
so I wanted to have a great bond with my daughter. And I had to do the work. Something
Right.
innately just told me that. So when you figure out your why, that's going to help you in those moments of despair, those moments when, you know, you're tired of tired, you can't yet see the results. And when it's just dark and you're just full of emotions and you're overthinking, that why is going to push you
Yeah.
to keep going. You need that 100%. And that's going to go into part tip 2, which is your habits and behaviors. Because once you figured out your why, there's a certain lifestyle, certain habits and behaviors you have had that is not going to benefit you for your next step, which is finding out this goal. That is healing from heartbreak. That is gaining, losing the weight, building confidence. There's certain habits that you have that hinders you. We're usually on autopilot throughout the day, putting on your clothes, brushing your teeth, doing your hair, sometimes even driving in the car to get to work. You ever notice like all of a sudden you just blank out and like, who was just driving this car?
Yeah.
Because you're on autopilot. You're not in the present moment. You're not yet self-aware as much as you should be
Yeah.
because you're not in the present moment. And so we have to be honest with ourselves of the habits and the behaviors that hinders us from reaching
Yeah.
our destination. And when we
Right.
do that and you understand, okay, these are the habits and behaviors that's hindering me, I have to make a change,
Right.
you're going to then put it in motion. You're not a worrier. You are just a person who has a habit of worrying.
Hello.
So
Say that
once you,
again for the people in the back.
yes, you are not a worrier. You are a person who has a habit of worrying.
Let's
So
go.
once you start to be honest with yourself, hone in on those habits that hinder you, then you are going to then be able to change that. It's not enough to say, oh, I no longer wanted to be in my business struggling anymore. I had to do one thing that necessarily always would have pushed me forward, which was I used to play in the back. Like I used to not put myself out there, not show up, not talk to people. You know, my insecurity held me back from being successful in my business when I was a graphic designer back in the day. So by me understanding it was me who was holding me back, my lack of confidence held me back. I'm going to now switch this mindset and create new habits that's going to make me feel more confident in myself so that when I can do something like this with no problem. 5 years ago, I would never be on a live talking to you guys ever. I would be
Right.
like, okay, how can I just write this post real quick? And then hopefully
Yeah.
they'll sit there and give me a $5,000 deal. I love
Yeah.
it. No, you
Yeah.
got to show up and be present.
Right.
So, but you have to be honest with yourself because we always so quick to examine somebody else. Like when you're in
Right.
a relationship, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong. If you just do this, you will get this result. But we don't
Yes.
want to do it for ourselves.
Right.
So we have to be honest with ourselves, and then we have to then take action and really replace the habits and behaviors that's hindering us.
Yeah.
And what can literally help, what can literally prevent you from doing that is your mindset. And
Yeah.
Grizz just said that. Mindset above all, it is your negative self-talk.
Yeah.
It's going to hinder you. And that's my third tip is you have to replace fear and doubt with hope and faith. You have to remove the mental bully that you have in your head. And how I did that was when I started to speak to myself in a way where I said, I can't, I won't. It was replaced with I will, I am. I
Yeah.
will find a way. I will figure
Yeah.
it out. I am capable. I am hungry. I am able to figure out a way. You have to be able to really switch that.
Yeah.
And there's a few exercises that you can do to do that. You can affirm it with affirmations.
Yeah.
I've done that plenty of times where you're just sitting here and saying affirmations to yourself. And I am love was my biggest one because this was my self-love journey. I had to empower myself to love myself, to be confident. So I am love was one of my affirmations. I understand that that's not for everybody. So another exercise that I did was I spoke to my younger self. I spoke to myself as I would my 2, 3 year old self. And you don't tell a child, you're ugly, you're fat, you're stupid, you're not capable, you will never succeed. What you tell a child is empowering words. You will succeed. You are beautiful. You are capable. Just be willing. Figure out a way. Problem solve. You know, if you get to that space of talking to yourself as you would your younger self, you're being more gentle and full of compassion and
Right.
empathy versus being a nasty bully to yourself and using all those words that other people might have told you as you were
Yeah.
growing up, or made you feel, because it was
Inadequate.
teachers,
Yeah. You
teachers,
know, it's so
parents.
funny. I wanna chime in on the mental bully. Uh,
Hmm.
Songbird and I on Monday for Wake Up on Purpose is our Monday, Wednesday, and Friday show on this platform that we have under Detox the Bush. And one of the things we spoke about Monday, it was geared around vulnerability. And Brene Brown, I love her. One of
Yes.
the things she really focuses on is vulnerability. And I want to say to everyone that in this process, you have to be vulnerable. And we have this poor program of believing that vulnerability is a weakness, and it is not. It takes a lot of courage to first say, there's something wrong and I need to fix it. Right? You can go even further and say, this isn't right. You don't have to say wrong. You can say, this isn't right and I need to fix it. Right? Now, when you speak about how you speak to your younger self, there were some notes written in reference to this, that you wonder why we don't like the way we speak to ourselves. We don't like to be critiqued in such a hard way by outside sources. However, we do it to ourselves. And that is
Hmm.
because if you notice that our parents, most of our parents, they use chastising as a method to get you to comply, right? So we grow up and we think that is how I'm going to create change, by speaking harsh, by highlighting the imperfections, by highlighting these so-called flaws, which are just individual traits that haven't been groomed. They are not flaws. These things that people feel uncomfortable with about you, they are not your downfall. You just have to know how to groom them, because those are actually your powers. Those are the things that
Hmm.
make you how do I say, irreplaceable, so to speak. Okay. And so it's very important that you do this mirror work, as I would like to say. How many times a day do you really stand in front of the mirror and talk to yourself, right? So these affirmations are good to write down, but you have to really say them to yourself, right? And
Hmm.
so when you have this poor programming of chastising for the sake of actually accomplishing something, in order to counteract that, when these thoughts, because it's normal at this age, we've already been programmed, right? And
Yeah.
so it's pretty normal for you to have these self-doubting thoughts, these self-questioning thoughts, right? And that's okay as well. What you must do is talk right back to them immediately. You can't sit in that emotion, in that thought, and question, how true is this? And see, we do ourselves a big injustice by asking ourselves questions we don't have the answer to as well. So you do know the things you do have the answer to. Those are the things that you should be saying to yourself. And standing in front of the mirror is an exercise that has worked for me greatly, once a day at least, right?
Hmm.
And even if it hurts, because it hurts to look at yourself sometimes, you have to do it.
Yes.
Okay, you have to
Hmm.
do it, and it's all about the programming. So mental bully is an active part of all of our lives, and you have to reprogram that. Those are a couple ways that you definitely can, and you can go ahead.
Oh yes, 100%. Like reprogramming my mind and the way of being was vital to my
Mm-hmm.
spiritual awakening. Even just the habits and behaviors that I actually adapted from my parents.
Yep.
And I wasn't aware of that. Like being passive aggressive. My mother is very passive aggressive, and being able to reprogram myself because I
Yeah.
didn't agree with that. But I was hindered from, speaking my mind as a child because, in a black family, a child to stay in their place, you do not question or talk back to a parent. So that might alleviate you from actually having a voice and standing on what you believe in at that
Yeah.
moment, because a child doesn't speak out of term usually. It's because
Yeah.
that's what they think and that's what they believe at that moment, so they communicate it automatically without thinking
Yes.
twice or anything.
Right.
They just say it. That's why sometimes they'll be like, "You fat," and
Yeah.
that's their observation, and that's what they say, and that's, what
Right.
I'm saying. So
Right.
it's like they don't mean harm by it. They're
Right.
witnessing something, and then they'll
Right.
sit there and speak it out. And
Yeah.
so, and that's when somebody will chastise you, like you said, and tell you, "No, don't say that.
Yeah.
This is how you make somebody feel when you say that." Blah blah blah. So it's like, yeah, girl, I had to realize, like, okay, these are some habits that I'm actually I've adapted from
Yeah.
my mother, and I didn't even agree to it, but I
Yeah.
did at the time because I just did what I was told.
Programming. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's many ways of being programmed from your parents, from society,
Yeah.
from, your doctors, from your teachers, your peers. So yes, reprogramming yourself, your habits, your behaviors, and your mindset is so vital to
Yes.
your progression and your growth
Yes. Come on now,
individually.
comments. I'm
Yes.
so sorry because I was like, I'm gonna let her just go, right? So, but I definitely I'm aware that people they don't stay to the end, and a lot of the things that you speak so well, right? Your presentation right now is so put together because you've already gone through the process, and so I'm going to do my best to have some communication with you on the things you present so that we can give them the tools on how to get there. Because I think when we speak about these things, it seems so
Hmm.
far-fetched for most people. They
Yeah.
don't have the courage yet to do like I did, to just reach out to someone who I saw your presentation, it hit, and we're going to make something happen of it, right?
Yeah.
So we are aware that even in my process now, as active as my healing is, I still have conflicting pieces in my everyday environment, people,
Oh,
places, and
yes.
things that are conflicting. And so if you don't have these tools, these hands-on tools to work, you will get discouraged. You will
Yep.
question, am I doing the right thing? It is so much easier to just stay in that space where everything else is familiar and everything else looks like you, where, like you said, being passive aggressive. I came from a family dynamic where no was, I don't want no, I'm not receiving no, and by any means I'm going to get it. Where some of the people in my unit, they kind of equated that to aggression. That was their tool of communication,
Mm-hmm.
aggression, and that's a manipulation. You're gonna give it to me, I'm gonna take it, right? And so I,
Mm-hmm.
in turn, didn't like the way that looked, so I
Yep.
had to find another way, right? And so, but for we do know that even though you have two parties in the same environment, sometimes they come out separate ways. But for the most, it's a replica. Whatever you're
Yep.
taught, like you said, children, they don't question. And so, yeah, I definitely want you to hit them with it. And I'm going to let you guys know some tools that work for me, because you're speaking facts transparently, to say that I picked this trait up from my mom. A lot of people are still not at the point where they can say, I don't like that's in my mom, but I actually do the same exact thing. And
Yeah.
that is the truth. Most of us have that story. The things that irritate you about someone, most likely you have that same trait within you, and that's why
Oh,
you're
yes.
irritated. Yeah. Okay,
Oh,
so go ahead, girl.
it's no coincidence. I'm gonna go off of that because before I go into my fourth tip, because it coincides. There's no coincidence. The person
Yeah.
that you meet, that you fall in love with, your
Yeah.
parents are no mistake. There's no coincidence. You are mirrored all the
Yes.
time by another human being. It's a mirror. A lot of times when somebody is triggering you and you feel something from them, from what they say or they do,
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, it's what irks you that you do as well.
Yes.
It's something in you. For
Yeah.
instance, somebody disrespects you in a relationship.
Yes.
It might not be the same actions you would take, but it
Yeah.
could be that you disrespect yourself by staying with that person.
Hello. Let's
So
talk.
this is where honesty with
Yes.
yourself cultivates, because we are partnered with people, especially like other people, as far as people we fall in love with that's outside of our family. When we
Yeah.
partner with them, is no mistake. No
Yeah.
mistake at all. It's something for you to learn. or experience. And it's always there to help you grow and evolve as a person. So it's just about being present in the moment and being aware and then being honest. And if we go back to belief, because I understand that being in that space where the results are not yet tangible, you can't yet
Mm-hmm.
see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know there's a feeling, I want to make a change, I want to do something,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm starting to do it and I'm hit with obstacles. I'm hit with drama, family drama, boyfriend drama, work,
Yeah.
co-workers. You're in
Yeah.
that space and it's like everything is hitting you at the same time. I
Yeah.
went through it. I went through
Yeah.
it. You get overwhelmed,
Yeah.
mentally exhausted, emotionally exhausted.
Right.
You start saying, why me? Why
Mm-hmm.
me? Why do I have to keep going through this? I'm doing the
Yeah.
work. Why me? When you get into that space,
Yeah.
it is your belief system that you're going to recreate or
Yeah.
adapt from a childhood, because it depends if you believe in God, you believe in universe, or just yourself. We all
Yeah.
have our ways and methods of belief, but you need to tap into that
Yeah,
wholeheartedly.
absolutely. I wanna give
Wholeheartedly.
two tools for that. So I'm by practice, I'm a Buddhist, right? And one of the things that we make mention of is when you cut on the water hose, right? What is the first thing that comes out? The muddy water
Mm-hmm.
first. Same thing as you have a full cup of water, you have sand at the bottom, right? When you put the spoon in and you stir it up, what happens? The whole water becomes consumed with the sand. However, we have a habit of looking at things like, see, because I tried to do good, now look at the muddy water. See, because I tried to do good, now everything is so sandy. No, that is the process of healing. Things must come to the surface so that they can be cleansed. And as long
Mm-hmm.
as they are not at the surface, they cannot be cleansed. And so, but as far as the belief system and how that goes, you really have to understand that that is the process. And the next thing is that the universe is not biased, right? So the question of why me is exactly what you start to attract. Pity. Now you've placed pity upon yourself with that question. And now instead of you getting people who are empathetic, you will now attract people who are sympathetic. You have to question, why are they showing sympathy? Because now you're attracting people who have the same trauma. So now you have trauma bonds. And you are
Mm-hmm.
wondering why you cannot excel with these people, places, and things, because they are not for the evolution of you. They are for the current space of you, so they will create comfort for you to stay there. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
so now you have to start saying, and this is something that works for me. I promise you, it's amazing. When I would go, I am determined. Now here comes the pressure. And instead of me saying, why me, I would say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I kid you not. And I started breezing
Mm-hmm.
through it. Not to say that the adversity started. Thank you, love. Not to say that the adversity started and then stopped there. Oh no, but the universe responds to you. It is not biased. So when I say thank you, I am showing appreciation, and now I am attracting people, places, and things of appreciation, right? I would
Yep.
also say I would also say a prayer, and it's crazy. I started this prayer since high school, and at the time, I didn't really know what I was saying. I would say,
Mm-hmm.
"Thank you for where you have placed me. Whatever it is that I need to absorb, and I need to achieve, and I need to understand. Please allow me to see that clearly, and please give me the endurance to survive it. Now take me through." And
Yep.
when you change the wording, you change the energy that surrounds it. I promise you, you will start to really look at these challenges as accomplishments that you have overcome. It
Mm-hmm.
is imperative that you understand that that energy of that wording has weight. Now, those words of thank you can propel you, or the question of why me can sit on
Mm-hmm.
top of you. So it's
Right.
really up to you. I promise you, the people that we look at, we idolize, we admire. If you read their backstories, they went through most of the things that we went through, and then some.
Yep.
So again, we spoke about this yesterday. If you're a 10, you're a 10 across the board. If your power is 10 and your anger and your rage, you make people stop, that same 10 is still you. Okay, it's just what seat are you sitting at? You want 10 across the boards at what table? Because your power is your power. It doesn't diminish no matter
Mm-hmm.
what you're going through. It's just how you direct that source of energy. So it's very important that you guys understand that as hard as it looks, you are really the one that is scripting your life. You're scripting your life, and we have a tendency of rerunning scripts. You got to get out of the cycle of the script that you are creating. You can literally rewrite it. Write it down on paper. My mom always says, put it on paper. Write it down on paper. What this looks like now, I want you to rewrite your story on paper, okay? And I want you to put it somewhere that's sacred to you. I promise you, you will see that manifest. It is all in the filter. You got to switch your filter, and only you can do that, right? Okay. So,
Yes,
no, girl, I
yes.
just wanted to let them know. Yeah, it's up
I'm
to
gonna give
you.
examples on how I actually sat here and transformed that in my mind and my being. I did music therapy. Before I even came on this live, anytime I'm doing something that's gonna push me forward, honestly, I listen to Meek Mills all day.
Come
Wins and
on now.
losses is my shit. Like
What is
I
it?
will
Losses?
wins and
Wins
losses.
and losses. Okay.
Yes,
Yes.
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 Because at the end of the day, the loss is nothing but a lesson, and I'm
Yeah.
always gonna win. Like people be seeing your light, you know, and seeing how bright you are, even when you don't. You know what I'm saying? Like you
Yeah.
can attract so much. It's for a reason. It's just a simple
Yeah.
fact of how do I navigate my energy? How do I transform my energy so it helps me versus hindering me? Because
Yes.
you can sit there and have all that charisma and a great light, and it can bring in people who are damaged, and you can take that as, oh my gosh, why do I keep having damaged people in my life? Or you can recognize that you're a healer and
Hello.
give the
Work now.
knowledge that you
Work.
need to give to them, and then keep it
Yes.
moving. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? So it's just
Yes.
recognizing that it's never, energy can never die. It only can be
Right.
transformed or absorbed. And once you recognize that, you understand, yes, the loss is a lesson. It is. It's going to help you really transform yourself. So music therapy helps me. Meditating, I did the traditional way, but in the beginning of my journey, but actually meditating in water helps me so much with calming, and it's very therapeutic. Being in
Yeah.
the shower, especially as a parent, once I had my daughter, you can't be in the bathroom for 5 minutes without
Yeah.
somebody knocking on the door. So so it's like I never had a time to really just sit
Yeah.
and meditate. So what I started to do is just meditate in the shower and using these portals with the water hitting my
Come on
hands
now for
and cleanse through
portals.
me.
Come on. You
Yes,
know, I want
your hands and your
we in
feet.
Songbird, we tell everyone this. Healing looks different for each person, right?
Yes, it
And so
does.
just because you watch a yoga video and that doesn't work for you, you're not into Kundalini, just because you see someone else reading these books and those books don't work for you, it does not
Yep.
mean that you cannot get the same reaction internally and same results that someone else. You just have to find what works for you. Like most
Yes.
people would say, I'm going to play Ocean Sounds. You play Meek Mills. And again, what happens is we have to understand we got to, first of all, you have to align with yourself in order to find out what's for you, right? In the
Yes.
process of doing that is what we're telling you. It starts with honesty. You have to be honest with yourself, right? I use this example so much. If I call her phone for her, I'm not going to get Songbird. If you call her phone for her, you're not going to get me, right? And so understand that no one else can give you the message for you better than the
Mm-mm.
divine source. And
Right.
you decide, because this is not about religion, okay? We're talking about just healing, and that leans more to spirituality. And those are two different things, right? And so you want the message that cannot be misconstrued, that cannot be manipulated by someone else's trauma and fear, because a lot of times you will see people that, and it's unfortunate, and it could be, is most of the time the ones closest to you, because they have
Mm.
not done the work, they are going to project their fears onto you even when they advise you. And sometimes it's not intentional. I want you to
No.
know, even the people who envy you, most of the time it is because they admire you and they can't figure out how to find that within themselves. So again, it's really in the mindset. Then you stop reacting to these things and you realize this is not a battle. This is not my fight. That's their fight. I put a post last night and I said, if someone doesn't like you, if someone does something to you, that's their ish. Do you realize
Mm-hmm.
how many of us are holding things that belong to other people? That's why we can't hold our own things. And so finding the spiritual practice that works for you, you have to be honest with yourself. You know, when you are around
Oh
people,
yeah.
places, and things, and you start to feel real irritated, you know that's not for you. I don't care
Yes.
if it's my
Mm-hmm.
family. When the environment starts to get me like this, I remove myself immediately, right? And I sit quietly. I'm at a point now when things are done towards me that I don't like, I don't even react. I
Right.
stop talking and I sit quiet because I need to know what's going on here. And I know I'm going to get the message. And so, when you say, yes, you can guide people, but they have to put the work in. Well, the work is really with yourself. That's the thing. When you start doing the work, when you start doing the tools that she's giving us right now, you realize how easy it becomes. A
Oh
lot
yeah.
of these battles are no longer battles for you because they start to drop off. This is what Songbird and I were talking about. If and I'll give this last example. Anything that is not centered, when you start to work, things start to shift. If they are on the edge, they fall off. They are no longer a battle for you to fight. And it's that simple. So instead of attacking each thing individually and over consuming yourself with all these emotions that don't work for you,
Mm-hmm.
focus on your center. And that's, what we're giving you. So here you
Yes.
go.
Yes. You're gonna feel it. You'll feel it.
Yeah.
You have to be aware. It's not you align yourself. Be aware of
Yeah.
your thoughts, be aware of your feelings, be aware of
Yeah.
your body. Your
Mm.
body communicates to you. When someone walks in the room, your body will tell you to
Yeah.
one,
Yeah.
focus that
Yeah.
person, that energy. And then you
Yeah.
have to then identify what it is. Do I
Yeah.
need to move away from that person? Do I need to move towards that person?
Hello.
That's what your body will communicate with you. Your gut, your intuition is your compass.
Yeah.
Everything that's within you is to help you survive in this world. It is not
Yes.
to be against you or put against you, but you have to listen. You have
You
to
have to.
be aware of yourself.
Yeah.
A lot of times you don't understand, like, okay, that's anxiety. I have anxiety all the time. Every single time I go somewhere, I have anxiety. It's two things. Your
Mm.
mental, because you keep thinking about what they doing, what they feeling, how they might be thinking.
Yeah.
You lack perspective like crazy, because sometimes
Yeah.
people are not thinking about you,
Hello.
worrying about you, and
Right.
you have anxiety.
Yeah.
Why? I have had it. I have
Yeah.
had
Me
it.
too.
That's why I'm speaking on it. And then two, if you are an empath or a healer, you're sensitive. So your
Yes.
body will communicate to you. I
Yeah.
was in the corner store, went to go get a drink from my daughter. This guy rubbed his hand on my back, and all of a sudden my body vibrated, and I was just like, "Ooh, no,
Yeah.
no, move away," because
Yeah.
it vibrated in a way and it communicated to me like, "No, you got
Yeah.
bad energy all within you. Your whole aura is not right," and
Yeah.
you can feel that. You can feel
Yeah.
that when somebody walk past you. You can feel that when you're in a room with somebody, and you can also feel when somebody is going through something. Because like if you're with
Yeah.
your family, and all of a sudden you lack perspective. You don't know exactly what's going
Yeah.
on at all, but you can feel it. You feel in the
Yeah.
room like, whoa, the energy not right here. Then all
Yeah.
of a sudden you start questioning everybody. What's going on? Was y'all
Yeah.
fighting? Arguing?
Yeah.
I feel something. That's
Yeah.
your body communicating with you, preparing you for what just happened. And
Yeah.
because it went from your energy, your aura frequency, into
Yeah.
everybody else's. So just listen, be present, question, speak,
Yeah.
and then know when not to. So you
Yeah.
can just
That's the
observe
biggest
and
thing that
see.
I'm telling people this season. I feel like that's my newest mastery of knowing when to do absolutely nothing. Because, the girls and I, we speak every day. And this week's lesson of the three lessons are I'm not going to be used against myself.
Mm,
And I think it's very important that people realize when you're being used against yourself, it goes back to that power, the power of you, the power of 10, right? And so when you say things out your mouth, the spirit world hears what comes out of your mouth. If you
mm,
don't say it, it won't activate, right? And so we get in these moments where we start venting and we start saying all these crazy things. And so that's what you're activating, right? And so now you're being fueled with what you just activated, and now you're going forth with that energy, and now you will be used against yourself. I promise. Have you ever been in an environment where something happened and your reaction was so quick and it was so fiery, and you sat back later like, I really tripped out? And it was that autopilot thing, right? Because you weren't
mhm,
aware with yourself, you weren't one with yourself in that moment. How many times have you been used to create adversity in situations, but that's not your heart? And you're like, wow,
mhm,
I said that and it just came out, right? And so again, you just have to be aware with yourself, understand that you are powerful, you are the writer of your story. And sometimes when you don't know what to do and say, that's when you should just sit and be quiet. Yesterday I was in a weird space and I said, you know what, I'm gonna study. I'm at a point now where I need some new knowledge and I'm going to study for new tools. And you have to know that. Not everything are we going to know what to do. So you prepare yourself. You start to make deposits in your account. Well, a lot of us are moving on, what do you call it? Negative. What do they call it when you have a negative in your account? Uh,
oh yes, when you go
uh,
negative in your account, go red.
yeah, a lot of us are operating like that because we're not depositing things into our account, so You have to be intentional with this thing and understand that once you decide that you're going to go forth, everything counts. Everything counts, you know, and silence and isolation so that you can retain the things that we're saying and realize where to activate it is very important during this process as well.
I agree with Janetzi. She said that when you have attracting energy can also cloud your judgment towards everyone else, and that's because you're spending too much time focusing on them and their energy versus being present in your body.
Yes.
And when you are present in your body, you can just sit there and really just question yourself. I'm like, is this my energy or is it somebody else's? I need to sit with this
Yo.
right now. And just talking to
Yes.
yourself can help you be present and grounding you. So then you're distracted. You're away from them.
Yeah.
And now I'm just presently in my body. What's going on right now?
Yeah.
And you're
The
just sitting
crazy
there
thing is people
quiet.
don't ask themselves that question. I think
No,
that
they
as
ignore
simple
it.
as it is, that's huge. Is this my energy or is this someone else's? And,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we'll get into that on some later dates. We talked
Yes.
about dispelling and transcending of energy. And again, I try to tell people, places, and things. If you're ready for this journey, you cannot allow the things that were there. You have to ask yourself, did it work? Yes, I did it, but did it work for me? It didn't work. And so you have to trust that when I talk about the red carpet effect, and then we could go to the next bulletin, but red carpet effect in life. A lot of us are waiting for someone to tell us we're qualified and we're ready, right? And life doesn't work that way. In order for it to activate, you have to, when you look at the red carpet, they start rolling and people start walking. They don't wait till it's rolled and it's fixed to start walking. And life doesn't work like that. You start walking, things start rolling. When you start walking in that purpose, everything that you need, every person you need will start to come to you. The tools that you don't have, don't worry about. You're sitting there nervous because you've never done this and you don't know if you can. Those things that are needed for you to successfully go through this process will start to come to you the minute you decide. I promise you.
Yes. Last tip, take action. That's exactly what she's talking about. You have to take action and to celebrate the win. So take
Yeah.
action. Be hungry. Be persistent. Be consistent in whatever it is you're doing. Be
Yeah.
so hungry that no matter what, you are laser focused. You are
Yeah.
laser focused on reaching your destination. Because without action, you can do all this mental work. You can sit here
Yeah.
and journal all day long. But if you're not actually putting in the work, there
Yeah.
is nothing going to manifest. The one thing about all this manifestation that they talk about, oh yeah, manifest it. You
Yeah.
want money? Okay. What are you doing to get it?
Right.
It ain't gonna
Right.
come at your doorstep like a mailman. Drop it.
No.
Here you go.
No.
It's right there for
No.
you. It's
Right.
not. You have to
Right.
actually do the work. And what that may look like is you building your confidence, is you
Yeah.
talking and getting out there and talking to people. It could be
Yeah.
you healing your past trauma for you to then manifest this type of man looking at you that you've been wanting this whole time. It's
Mm-hmm.
you doing the work. You doing the
Yeah.
work. When I wanted
Yeah.
a better relationship for myself, I'm like, why I keep on attracting these narcissists? Like, why is it that I keep attracting these
I'm
people?
dead.
So serious. The
I
ones where
am
you call
dead.
fuckboys, because that's what in our community they call them
Right.
fuckboys. Like, why do I keep on,
Right.
attracting these toxic people? They're manipulative. They always about using other people. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying, to get what they need. Why am
Right.
I attracting that? It's for reasons. One, I didn't have boundaries. When I set boundaries, I did not keep them. I let them keep
Come
using me and
on.
using me.
Come
Two,
on.
I lied to myself over and over again. Oh, yeah,
Woo.
he loves me. Oh my God, no problem. Like, we're going to fix it. He's going to grow. He's going to evolve like I am. And yet he
Come
ain't
on
doing the
now.
work. I had
Yes.
to then be honest with myself. I am the reason why this person sits across the table from me. When I
Yeah.
cut it off and I cut the tie,
Yeah.
now what is mirrored back to me is a man
Yeah.
who is a father, 100%.
Yes.
He is a
Yes.
giver. He
Yeah.
is, it's being mirrored to me because that's where I am.
Yes.
I'm standing in my power. I'm standing on my 2 feet. I know who I am. So I took the action and I'm celebrating now
Yeah.
because I did the work. And what is
Yeah.
mirrored to me in my life is all the work I have done. So I have gratitude for the fuckboys. I have gratitude for the narcissists. I have gratitude for my failed
Right.
marriage because you know
Right.
what? If they did not exist, you would not have looked at yourself with honesty and did the work. So
It's so
don't
true.
blame
So
them.
true. And I
Congratulate
want to
them.
say, if you're gonna blame bigger. That's something I learned. Like my first month when I got off the plane here, I came here empty, right? And I was like, this is it. This right here is it for me. This is it because I am sure Russian roulette is over and the next friggin' pull is the bullet, and that I'm not playing with the trigger no more. I knew it. I felt it all over me. I
Mm-hmm.
started to deposit things into my system that mirrored me, how I saw me, not what I felt about myself in the moment, not what other people felt about me in the moment, not what the opinions would have been if I asked, because you're judging where I currently am. Who am I and what I know about myself? When you're
Yes.
on your high and even in the moments of your low, that thing that you see that never changes, no matter what you're going through, that is you. Right. So who am I? And now I start depositing things that are of me. Right. And one of the things that they taught me was blame bigger. So there was a woman, and it's so funny. People think they know what their issues are, right? The things
Mm-hmm.
that you are projecting are just the results of your issues that are unhealed. That is not your issue, okay? You don't have issues with men, right? You have issues with neglect. You have issues with abandonment. So you create these
Yep.
habits, right? That don't have respect for boundaries, right? That allow people to disrespect you. And it's so funny you said boundaries, because my initial determination of healing started with a conversation with myself. And the answer was boundaries, because I said the same thing. What is
Mm-hmm.
going on? Why do I keep on being depleted? What is this? Boundaries, right? I'm going to tell you why. When it comes to boundaries, if you stop it at the gate, you won't be having conversations on the couch. You got 8 conversations on the couch and now you got a headache, right? Same
Mm-hmm.
conversation, because it should have never made it past the gate, right? And
Yep.
so now you have to, in this present moment, I don't care if it's mommy, daddy, brother, sister, I don't care. Think about what works for you and what doesn't. That's where your boundaries start. If it doesn't work for you and it's never worked for you, it isn't going to work, right? And so you create your boundaries, right? And I'm going to tell you why. We want loyalty from people. When you have no boundaries, you have no loyalty to yourself. So again, you are
Yep.
attracting what you are. You're attracting someone who will have no loyalty to you, because it is not hard to see when a person is not loyal to themselves, right?
Oh yes.
Okay. So you have to put the boundaries into activation. And in terms of a lot, I say this to a lot of women. I'm not one of those women where, oh, you got to have this and you got to have that, you got to have that. My conversation is, I must have this, I must have that, and I must be activating on this level. Reason being, my boundaries will not be questioned, right? And the person
Mm-hmm.
will come to the table as a reflection of me, because they
Yep.
are already going to know, hey, first of all, you're not going to attract no more fuckboys, as you said, because you don't even
Mm-hmm.
have time. You focused on yourself. Those things don't even appeal to you any longer, right?
Mm-mm.
And the question of disrespecting yourself, we're not there anymore, right? We're not going to do
Yep.
that. We know what that is. We didn't did that enough. It doesn't work, right? And
Yep.
so now, instead of, and I'm going to tell you why a lot of people, they don't get the person they want. These things that you're requiring from someone that you don't have on your own makes a person disrespect you even more. How dare you? Again, like everyone else is doing to everyone else. How dare you put expectations on me that you can't live up to? I'm one of those people. I will tell you in a heartbeat, don't come to me with that, because I need to see that in you first. You don't have the courage to do that. Don't pour that on me, right? And so
Mm-hmm.
in that process right now, you guys are going, yeah, you can see through it. Right now in this process, you're going to meet a lot of adversity, a lot of resistances, a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
who are going to be upset with you, right? And it's okay. One of the things that worked for me, and at first people weren't accepting of this response, but I would say, that is your experience of me, that is not me, and I am not responsible for fixing what your experience of me is. You have to be
Yep.
okay with the fact that people are going to talk about you, and it's really just their experience of you. But again, they're looking through a filter that sometimes has nothing to do with you. That's the
Mm-hmm.
trauma trophies that they still holding on to, calling it the culture. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so this right here, guys, is serious work. I'm not gonna lie to you, right? So when you start to put everything that she said into position, and you start to understand that adversity is gonna come, and you start to change the way that you're responding to it, right? Now here comes the resistance, and people are gonna disrespect you, and you gotta be comfortable with that, even if it's your mama. Because I'm gonna tell you why. It is important that we start to become what we want to see. There are a lot of people, and it's not you. They are afraid. They have trauma trophies, and they have been told that that is all that's valuable. When you look around, everything is, I'm a savage. That's what makes them feel valuable. I became that society is glorifying. You do not see what we're talking about glorified on a same scale. So people are afraid, and you got to understand, it's not a personal thing with you. They don't have an issue with you. You just sharing space in that time, and now that's why you're the target. So take yourself out that fight. Understand that is not your fight. Okay, it's personal, and it needs to be personal with you. Don't give somebody else your time, because you may not get that time again. Like I said, I knew I had luck, and I was good at Russian roulette, but I knew that next pull was the bullet, right? And so
Yep.
if that's where you feel that you are with your life, I want you guys to definitely stay tuned in. Babe, can you pin the link for them? We're going to give you guys a discount, right? Because I love her work. And we spoke about it, and I said, hey, babes. I said, hey, Gab, hey, Elle. I said, I want them to be able to access this as well. So we guys are going to give you a discount. I want you guys to do the work, right? I want you to stay plugged in with us and everyone that's on our platforms, because we have decided that we are going to use our platform to heal, to transcend.
I'm
Oh, there
pinning
you
it.
go. Okay, I
I'm
thought you
back.
was frozen for a while. So I want, for everyone who just tuned in, we're going to do a recap of the tools. I want you to go ahead and break the steps down for them one more time. While we have we got some time left. We got about 10 minutes.
Awesome. Perfect. Let me see. I'm waiting for that little pin thing to
It's
pop up.
there. I can see it. Oh, no, not yet. Thank you, love. Thank you.
I'm holding it, but I don't see a pin popping up.
Oh, after you
Oh, I see it.
got it. Uh-huh. It's not
There we
exactly as
are.
they explained. Right.
There we are. We got it. We
We
got it.
moving. So,
Detox
guys, I want you
July,
to,
10% off.
yeah,
And you can hit that link to
yeah.
Becoming a Better
We
You
gonna detox the
Masterclass.
bullshit. This season, we
Yes.
detoxing the bullshit, for real, for real. No more people, places, and things that are not for us. Before you run the steps, I also want to let you guys know that I'm doing a challenge right now. And if you guys want to plug in and you just need accountability partners, just plug in. Wherever you see us doing stuff, just plug in. We don't mind. Hit us in the DM. We are here for that reason, right? So before we go, babe, I definitely want you to run it for everybody that's tuning in, so they can have that too.
Yes, yes. So 5 steps to becoming a better you, just to go over the 5 steps. That is knowing your why. That is being identifying your habits and your behaviors that is no longer that is hindering you from actually reaching your destination. You need to create new habits and behaviors. It is switching your mindset, cutting out the negative self-talk, replacing it with empowering words, affirmations, and activities that is going to propel you to reach that destination. Then it is creating a belief system. So when there is times where you cannot yet see the results and it's not yet tangible and you want to give up and you're talking about why me, you are going to tap into that belief system to get you back on the path, walking and reaching your destination. Then you're going to take action, because you can do all the work mentally, but you have to put it in action in order to achieve it. And you're going to celebrate those wins, because when you're doing this work and you're in hermit mode and you're constantly going back and forth, you have to celebrate your
Yeah.
win. You have to tap yourself on the back and say, you did a good job. You got real this far. You put in that work. We're going
Yeah.
to keep going, but we're going to celebrate what you have done thus far.
Yeah.
And this is why I created the master class, and this is why I created the workbook, so that you can work through those habits, you can work through those behaviors, you can identify those who need to set
Yeah.
boundaries with, and
Yeah.
you can work through that with them and track that process. It's going to guide you, it's going to ask you questions. The masterclass is going to empower you and help you think.
Yeah.
Think through those habits, think through those behaviors, think through that mindset and that belief system that you need to put in place. You
Yeah.
can utilize this on every aspect of your life, but
Yeah.
know that it starts internal. Nothing external will be manifest unless you do the work internally and then
Yeah.
you put it into action.
Yeah.
I thank you by all for your time. I appreciate you so
Yeah,
much,
I'm
girl.
so grateful that you guys enjoyed it. And I want to say also, where you said celebrate yourself, I'm going to take this to everything that you said today, right? We allow ourselves to be treated the way that we've been treated because we have been taught, well, I can say, I'll keep it on the eye. I was taught that celebrating myself was being cocky. It was it made them people feel uncomfortable. They would say, you think you're better than us, or you think you're white, or you think, these are the things that no one knew that I had, went through. So I was always in a position of fighting with myself and my accomplishments, right? And the problem with not celebrating yourself is, you don't celebrate you, no one else celebrates you, right? And so we also become stuck to chasing this big win that is going to counteract everything that we've experienced in life. And so you start chasing the artificial, right? And so you become the dead tree with a bunch of hanging plaques at the end of that road. And it's so important. And so when you celebrate yourself, you give value to yourself from yourself, you give appreciation to yourself, you will then require everyone to respect you the same way. See, when we don't put a value on ourselves and we're waiting for everyone else to value us, that's why we take the things that are beneath our life conditions, and we have no business digesting those things. Some of those things are not of you, and you will not easily be able to detox them. So through your process of what we just gave you as far as the tools, make sure that you celebrate yourself. Even if you just write a note to yourself through each one of those things. I am proud of you because I noticed that this is changing in you. You have to write these love letters to yourself, put them in a jar. And at the end of the year, you take your time and you read back these notes. And that's that right there is going to give you a power jump for your next part of your journey. Okay. So I appreciate you, sis. I'm grateful for this opportunity for us to share time and space and share platforms.
Yes, me too.
And we definitely are going to have the replay available for you all. Make sure you guys go get the workbook. Make sure you stay plugged into both our platforms. We are actively posting information online every day to give you the tools that you need. And feel free to hit us up because we're here. This is our goal right now, to help people heal.
100%, 100%.
Yes.
Thank you guys so much for the time. I appreciate you so much. You put Detox July into that link when you're checking out, and you're going to get 10% off that masterclass just for being here and being present with me. I appreciate you. And I'm going to leave you with this. It is your birthright to be loved and to love, because you are love. So you enjoy your day. Enjoy your week.
Have a good day,
and we'll talk
guys.
again soon.
Bye.
Bye.